The next lesson on the sociology of inequality is about power, on forms of power and forms of authority. Legitimate, meaning it's legal, accepted fair coercion using force. Charisma, your character is so strong, people do what you say, you'll have charisma. Traditional, meaning to do with norms and values and just the way things have always been. Rational, legal, the law, it makes sense. Okay, so let's go. Power means the ability to achieve what you want to and influence decisions that affect you and other people. That's power. Getting people to behave the way you want them to behave. Power is not evenly distributed, meaning not everybody has the same amount of power. That's fairly obvious. Some people are more powerful than others. To a Marxist, the bourgeoisie have most of the power and use it to their advantage. To a feminists, men have most of the power. The patriarchy has the power. To functionalists, the power is not evenly distributed, and that's fine because they have all these rules and laws and it benefits everybody. So, let's spend a second thinking about the difference between these two things: coercion or authority. Coercion is power, rule based on violence or the threat of violence. These men in this photograph are digging this hole because this man with a gun is watching them, and if they stop, he will shoot them. That is coercion. They're only working because of the threat of violence. This is not a very good form of power, because if he walks away, they stop working. True power is authority. Rule based on the belief that what you are being told to do is somehow fair or right. That, if you can convince someone that they should do what you want them to do, so they'll do it without you watching them, that is authority. These are both forms of power. The ability to achieve what you want to achieve and influence decisions that affect your life, e.g. tax, how much money the government takes off you. Yeah? If you have authority, if you have power, you can change that more or less. Do we tax income or do we tax spending? The rich want to tax spending, not income, so they can keep their wealth. And to a Marxist, the bourgeoisie, the middle class, have power, and they use that power to make sure things are organised for their benefit, so they keep more of their money. Right, so we've done this thing before when we talked about socialisation and social control. Most people follow life's rules without arguing. This is called informal social control. It's much more important and powerful than the laws. It gets into our head by the process of socialisation. We have a conscience. We feel guilt if we break these rules. There are informal sanctions. People don't like you anymore. This is how we make things work. That's why the purge is just a fantasy, because if people don't go around murdering people, not because the law says they shouldn't, because their voice in their head says they shouldn't. Right, now, Max Weber, who we did a couple of lessons ago, he had a lot of thoughts on this, identity and on power. He said power comes in three types. First off, there's traditional authority. Yeah. Rules that you obey because that's the way it's always been. You think it's normal to obey those rules. Your family and school tends to work that way. You don't really think about should you do what your mum and dad say. You just do what your mum and dad say. On a country level, what Weber was talking about is things like kings. Kings have traditional authority. Here's the bishop putting the crown on the king's head, saying God's put you in charge because your dad was king before you. This makes no real sense, but people accept it because that's the tradition. It's always been that way. We'll talk about Tibet. It's got this country here on the borders of India and China in the mountains. For a long time it was run by a theocracy. The priests were in charge. The Dalai Lama, that's the current Dalai Lama, was chosen in the past based on the idea of reincarnation. So when the Dalai Lama died, the wise men said the new Dalai Lama is this baby here and has complete control. This makes no sense to us, but it's based on their traditions, so traditional authority. And for most of human history, most nation states have been run in this way, kingdoms. Then there's charismatic authority, Weber said. It's based on the personal magnetism, the character and personality of the leader. There's something about that leader that makes you want to do what they want to do. Hitler's the best example. Hitler had charismatic authority. In Germany, he managed to get the Germans to do these terrible things because somehow the way he spoke, the way he conducted things, gave his tremendous charisma, we'd say, gave him this power. Charismatic authority is a weak form of power. It only survives as long as the person survives. When they die, when they go, it collapses. In the modern world, Weber says, what we really have most of the time, what we should aim for, is legal, rational authority. Authority based on laws. Laws that we've made that make sense. We agree with the laws. We agree with the person enforcing the laws should enforce those laws. The laws are made in Parliament, and we agree, yeah, okay, we may not agree with individual laws, we agree that that's the right way to make them. An example often gets used is the food inspector. The food inspector goes into the restaurant. There's the owner of the restaurant. The food inspector saying, you must make these changes by these dates. This guy doesn't want to do that. It's going to cost you money, but he will, because he accepts and we accept that his authority is based on laws and it makes sense. It's rational. We don't want dirty restaurants. Legal, rational authority. So, for instance, in America, in the 1920s, they tried prohibition. They passed laws banning alcohol in the 1920s in the States. It didn't work because people didn't accept it. So nobody obeyed those laws. So legal, rational authority there failed.